Welcome to Code with Vinay. In this video, I'll be solving the ICSE 2023 Computer Application Specimen paper for you. Attempting a specimen paper can help you to feel more prepared and confident for the real exam and can be a valuable tool in your examination preparation. More than the solution, I'll be focusing on how to approach the paper and the thought process. This won't be a presentation style video where I'll be changing slides with questions and answers already written. We'll be discussing and doing each and every question. I'll develop and execute the program so that you have a proper understanding of the concepts. Before we begin, let us first have a quick look at the format of the paper for 2023. The paper is divided into two sections, Section A and Section B. Section A is of 40 marks, in which there will be 20 MCQs of 1 mark each, that is 20 marks, and remaining 20 marks will be for short answer type questions. Section B consists of programs, and here there will be a choice. You are required to attempt 4 questions out of 6 in this section. Each question carries 15 marks in this section, which totals up to 60. You will get 15 minutes for reading the question paper, and you should use this time wisely for reading the paper thoroughly and making decisions regarding which questions to opt for in Section B. Let us begin. And the first MCQ is, wrapping up of data and methods together as one unit is termed as. The options provided are inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction. Now, wrapping up of data and methods into one unit is known as encapsulation, and just for your information, that one unit is known as a class. The second question is, the data type which is specified that the method does not return a value is, and then there is a void with a capital V, void in all lowercase, void in all uppercase, and finally Boolean. The correct answer over here is void in small case. Do remember, in Java all the keywords are in small case only. So here also the correct answer is void. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is the logical operator, which is an unary operator, and then there are 4 options: and, or, not, and right shift operator. Now the last operator, right shift operator, is not in the course, so you are only left with 3 actual choices, that is and, or, and not. Now unary means 1. So if you recall, if you have to perform an and operation, you say A ampersand B, that is something and something. Similarly for or, you say A or B, that is something or something. But for a not, you simply say not A. You are negating the Boolean variable. So the correct answer in this case is not. The next question, that is question number 4, is the scanner class is a dash class, and the options provided are primitive, derived, wrapper, and superclass. Now observe that they have already specified that scanner is a class, which means that it cannot be a primitive. Also note that a wrapper class wraps the primitive data types, that is int, char, short, byte, etc., which is not happening in this case. So it cannot be a wrapper class also. And since there is no mention of a scanner class extending some other class, there is no extends, it cannot be a superclass also. And the last and the most important point is that all classes in Java inherits from a class by the name of object. That is, object class is the base class of all classes in Java, and hence the scanner class is also being derived or inherited from the object class, and hence the correct answer is derived. The next question, that is question number 5, happens to be one of the controversial questions of this question paper. The reason I'm calling it controversial is that it has 2 interpretations. Let us explore the 2 interpretations. Observe this second argument to Math.pow function, which is 1 by 2. Now notice carefully, it is 1. The slash is going below 1, and then you have a 2, which means that this is not the regular 1 by 2 mathematical expression, but 1 by 2 as a single Unicode character, which is technically known as vulgar fraction 1/2. You may Google the term vulgar fraction 1/2 for more details, but here what is significant is that it's a single character and not a mathematical expression. Now you already know that Math.pow take two arguments. The first one is the number to be raised and second one is the power to which the number is to be raised. And both these arguments are double, and half as vulgar fraction 1/2 is not a double. Let me execute this for you in JShell. JShell is a tool which allows you to run a line directly without writing the whole program. So here, the first argument is 625 and the second argument is 1/2, just like it is there in the question paper. And if I execute this line by pressing enter, notice what happens. It says error, illegal character, /u00bd, which happens to be the code of this character half. Now, as you can see, illegal character option is not present as one of the options. Council is very student friendly, and in cases where the question is wrong or ambiguous, the benefit of the doubt goes to the student. The marks are awarded to anyone attempting the question. Now let us move on to the second interpretation of this question. The second interpretation is that this 1/2 is 1/2. Notice that both 1 and 2 are integers. Integer divided by integer will give you an integer. So 1/2 is 0.5 and 0.5 converted into integer is 0, which means that Math.pow 625 1/2 is actually 625 raised to the power 0. Any number raised to the power 0 is 1. And then the second part of this expression is Math.sqrt 144, which means we are finding the square root of 144. The square root of 144 is 12, and hence the final answer is 1 plus 12, that is 13. Now, since both Math.pow and Math.sqrt are returning a double, this will be 13.0, and hence the correct answer is 13.0. Now it's time to move on to the next question, which is the correct if statement for the following ternary operation statement is, and the ternary statement which they have given is system.out.println n modulus 2 equals 0, and then there are two strings which are being returned, true in double quotes and false in double quotes. So the important point over here is that this true and this false, these are strings because they are enclosed in a double quote. And then this string is being printed by system.out.println. Now, if you notice the options, the first option doesn't have a println, so it's outright wrong. This is not the correct answer. The second one also does not have a print statement, so this is also not going to work. The third one has the print and it is checking for n modulus 2 is equal to 0, but let's take a look at the fourth one also. Fourth one doesn't have system.out.println, hence the correct answer in this case is option C. Time to move on to the next question, that is question number 7. Question number 7 is multiple branching statement of Java is, and the four options are for, while, do while, and switch. Now, if you notice, the first three options are loops. For cannot be the multiple branching statement because it's a loop. Similarly, while is also a loop, do while is also a loop, which only leaves with one multiple branching statement over here, which is switch. So the correct answer is D, switch. Also notice that option A, for, is starting with a capital F, which means that it's not the for loop. The next question, that is question number 8, is the number of bytes occupied by constant 45 are, the options are 4 bytes, 2 bytes, 8 bytes, and 1 byte. And if you notice, 45 by itself is an integer, and an integer takes 32 bits or 4 bytes in memory, which means that the correct answer is 4 bytes. The next question, that is question number 9, is do while loop is an option 1 entry control loop, option B infinite loop, option C exit control loop, and option D finite loop. And the correct answer is it is an exit control loop. Why? Because whenever you give a do while, you first execute the body, then you reach the while, and then depending on what the condition is, you go out of the loop. So You are executing the body first, and then you are deciding whether or not to go out of the loop. Hence, it is a exit controlled loop. Time to move on to the next question. That is question number 10. So here they have given you a code snippet consisting of a nested loop, and they are asking how many times the inner loop is executed, and the options are 4 times, 8 times, 2 times, and 16 times. Observe that inner loop by itself is executing for 4 times, 1, 2, 4. So this is executing 4 times. But since this is an inner loop and the outer loop is executing 2 times, the total number of times the inner loop is getting executed is 2 into 4, 8 times. And hence the correct answer is B, 8 times. Let's move on to the next question. That is question number 11. And question number 11 is, a method with the same name as of the class and with arguments and no return data type is termed as, and the options are A, parameterized constructor, B, default constructor, C, non-parameterized constructor, and D, wrapper method. Now observe the first part of the question, a method with the same name as that of the class, which means that we are talking of a constructor. Hence, option D is ruled out. So one thing is clear, that it has to be a constructor, and all constructors do not have a return type. So if you notice, the main part now is with arguments, which means that the correct answer is A, parameterized constructor, because that's the only option which can be true. Default constructor is provided by the compiler, and since there are parameters, it cannot be a non-parameterized constructor. Now let's move to the next question, that is question number 12. And here what is happening is that the character A is being assigned to a numeric variable res, and the question is asking what is the value of res. The code of character A is 65, and hence the value which is being stored in the integer variable is also 65. Here I would like to point out that it really helps in the examination if you know the codes of some important characters, like for example, A is 65, B is 66, and this goes on till Z, which is 90. Similarly, small a is 97, B is 98, and so on, and small z is 122. And then number starts from 48, that is 0 is 48, 1 is 49, and so on. And going by this logic, 9 is 57. So it sometimes helps in getting the answer quickly. Also avoid using the term ASCII code for these codes, because Java actually supports Unicode, which is a much larger character set. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is, the style of expressing single line comment is, then option A is slash asterisk comment asterisk slash, option B is asterisk comment, option C is slash slash comment, and option D is slash asterisk comment. And here the correct answer is C. The next question, that is question number 14, says the method to check if a character is an alphabet or not is, and the correct answer is A, is letter. And is letter is defined in the character class. So if you have to check, you will say character.isLetter, and then you will pass the required character as the argument. Now let us move on to question number 15, which is the output of double dot parse double and the string argument 71.25 plus 0.75 is, and the way to work it out is we convert 71.25 from string into a double, that is it will become 71.25, and then we'll add 0.75 to it, and once we do it, the correct answer will be 72.00. And obviously when you print the double value, it will only print 72.0, and 72.0 is the option B. So correct option is option B, 72.0. Let's move on to question number 16 now. And question number 16 is, the question is, the method to convert a string to uppercase is, option number 1 is to uppercase a character argument. Option number B is to and all uppercase in uppercase is, and the argument is string. Option C is to uppercase string, and then finally D is also to uppercase in all lowercase and the argument is string. So if you notice, we have to check for a string. So first one is ruled out because it is taking a character. Now, if you see BCD carefully, please understand the convention in Java is that the method names follow the camel case. Camel case means the function name starts with a small character, and whenever there is a word change, a character is capitalized. So going by this logic, the correct answer is C, 2 uppercase. Why? Because it is starting with a lowercase, and whenever there is a word change, the character is capitalized. So the correct answer is C, 2 uppercase in camel case. Now the subpart 17 is the output of the method determination dot substring 2 comma 6 is. So let's work it out. When doing string questions, it's always a good idea to first write the indexes to avoid mistakes. So let's do it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll stop at 6 because we are only interested till the 6th character. The first argument is the start index, that is, we'll begin from 2. And the second argument is last but one index, that is, we'll stop at 5. So we have to stop at 5 and not 6. So we'll take the characters from 2 to 5, that is TERM. And the correct answer is A. Please note, this is determination in all uppercase. So TERM are in capital. So only the first option A has all these characters in capital. So the correct answer is A. Let's move on to the next question. The question is, the array int x10 occupies 10 bytes, 40 bytes, 20 bytes, or 80 bytes. Now we know that an integer variable occupies 4 bytes of memory. Hence, 10 integers will occupy 4 into 10 equal to 40 bytes of memory. And 40 bytes is at option B. So the correct answer is B, 40 bytes. Now we have reached subpart 19 of question 1. The question is, the element in x4 of the array followed by an array is. That is, we have to find out the element at the 4th index. And again, indexing always starts from 0. So let's index it first. This is 0. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. And this is 4. And our answer is 16. Let us now move on to the last MCQ. The question says, name the type of error that occurs for the following statement. And the statement is system.out.println math.sqrt 24 minus 25. The options are syntax error, runtime error, logical error, no error. Now this also happens to be a controversial question. In fact, it's a wrong question in a way. I'll explain how. Now the question states, name the type of error. And now see what happens in the statement given. So 24 minus 25 is -1. And math.sqrt is going to find the square root of -1. The square root of -1 is not a real number. It's a complex number. An imaginary part, that is, a complex number has two parts, real part and an imaginary part. So a complex number cannot be stored in a double variable. So what happens is that this will give you NaN. Now NaN stands for not a number. And if I open the Java documentation for NaN, just give me a moment, I'll bring up the documentation page. So on your screen right now is the relevant portion of the Java documentation for NaN, and it clearly states a constant holding a not a number value of type double. It also states that it is equivalent to the value returned by double.long bits to double, and the actual value is 0x7ff8. So this makes it clear that NaN is not an error but just one of the constant field values which are defined in Java. NaN or not a number simply means not a number. It is not an error at the language level. It sometimes comes as a result of a logical error, but it's not a logical error itself. Now, coming back to the question, notice that the question is not even saying that we are trying to find out the square root of a negative number. This just means that we are trying to print NaN. And in fact, if you actually run this program on the computer, let me do it for you. So if I run this line, see what happens. It displays NaN. It's trying to say that the number which has come as an answer is indeterminate. It is not a number. Also notice that if I display system.out.println double.nan directly, it displays nan just like any other number. The only thing is that it's not looking like a number. So at the language level, it's not an error. Now you might be wondering what's the correct answer. So technically, the correct answer, or rather the correct answers in this case, are no error and logical error, because in a way you may assume that since we are trying to find the square root of -1, it's a logical error, but it might also be just a demonstration thing because the question is not saying so. And since the council is very student friendly, they'll probably give you marks for both option C and D. Now, since we are discussing NaN, I would like to point out two very important things. Number one, this is one of those few exceptional cases where a thing is not equal to itself. Like for example, if I say double dot NaN equals double dot NaN, please note there is a double equal to, that is we are trying to check whether this is equal to itself or not. So if I press enter, you will see the answer is false. That is double dot NaN is not equal to itself. And the second interesting property is that double dot NaN when used in any mathematical calculation is equal to double dot NaN. So if I say multiplied by 100, you'll get NaN. If I say divide by 100, you get NaN, and so on. I hope you get the point. So with this, the MCQ section is over. Now let us move on to the short answer type questions. So in question number 2.1, we have to evaluate the expression z plus is equal to a plus 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 minus minus b plus 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 a plus minus minus b, where a equals 10, b equals 5, and z equals 10. We'll first take care of this operator plus equal to over here. That means the expression will become z is equal to z plus followed by the rest of the expression, that is a plus 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 minus minus b plus 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 a plus minus minus b. Let's work it out now. The value of z is 10, so we'll say 10 over here. The current value of a is also 10, so we'll write 10 over here. But then there is a plus plus after a, that is post increment. So as soon as we have used the value of a over here, this value of a will change to 11. Then we again have a plus over here, and then we have a minus minus b. The current value of b is 5. The minus minus or pre-increment operator is before b, so we'll first subtract the value, that is 5 will become 4, and then we'll use the value 4 over here. Then we come to the next one, and here we are increasing the value first and then we are using it. So the current value of a is 11, that will now change to 12, and then this 12 will be used over here. And now we are at the last term, which is minus minus b. That is, this is a pre-decrement operator. We'll first decrease the value of b and then we'll use that value of b. So the current value of b is 4. 1 less than 4 is 3, and then we'll use the value 3 over here. And the next step is to add up all these values. That is 10 plus 10, 20, 20 plus 4, 24, 24 plus 12, 36, and 36 plus 3, 39. And our final answer for this question is 39. In the next question, that is question number 2, part 2, we have to write Java expression for the absolute value of x square plus xy. The method to find the absolute value is ABS, and ABS is declared inside the class math. So we'll have to say math.abs, and then within parenthesis we'll write our expression. Now notice we can't write x square in the form of a subscript in Java. So we'll have to say over here x into x. That will be followed by this plus. And again in maths you say xy to denote x into y, but here you have to say that this is x into y. So this is our answer for question number 2. The next question, that is question number 2, part 3, is rewrite the following using ternary operators. And then there is a Java statement given: if x is more than y, c is equal to capital A, else c is equal to small a. Let us attempt this now. So c equals, the condition over here is x more than y, then we'll have a question mark. And then what happens when the condition is true? We say capital A. And what happens when the condition is false? Small a. And finally, we have a semicolon at the end. So ternary operator is denoted by question mark, colon, and it is called ternary because there are three parts: the condition, what happens when the condition is true, and what happens when the condition is false. So this is our final answer. Let us move on to the next question now. And the next question is rewrite the following while loop using for loop. Here one important thing to note is that the value of x is being used outside the loop, which means that when we are declaring our for statement, we have to declare the variable of x outside the for, otherwise the variable will not be available when the loop is over. That is, we can't say for int x is equal to 5. We have to first say int x, and then here we'll say x is equal to 5. Otherwise, what will happen is that when you declare the variable over here by saying for int x, that variable x is not available outside the loop. So this has to be taken care of, and this is very important. So x is equal to 5, x is less than equal to 5, then we are incrementing the value. So we'll say x plus plus. We'll have the body of the loop, and we are not doing anything in the body of the loop. We'll close the body, and then we'll say system.out.println x. Now, if you want to simplify it further, you can remove this curly braces from here and here. And instead, what you can do, you can simply place a semicolon over here to denote an empty body. Both are acceptable. So this is our answer. The next question, that is question number 2, part 5, is how many times the following loop will get executed? What is the output of the same? Let's work it out. So we'll have one variable over here called counter, and we'll write the output over here. So the initial value of the variable counter is 1. Now let's begin. We have a do loop. We come inside the loop, system.out.println counter. That is, the first output will be 1. Then we check the condition. While counter plus plus is less than 5. So this is the post increment operator. That is, we'll first use the value of the counter and then we'll add it once the comparison is made. So the current value of counter is 1. 1 less than 5? Yes. So the condition is true. We'll run the loop again and the value of 1 will go to 2. Next time when we reach system.out.println counter, we'll display 2. Then again we come down. This time we'll check whether the current value of 2 is less than 5. Yes, 2 is less than 5. And before we proceed on to the next iteration, we'll make this 2 into 3. Now in the next iteration, system.out.println counter, the value of 3 gets printed. We again come to the condition. We'll check the current value. Is 3 less than 5? Yes. And then 3 will become 4. Again we'll go up. System.out.println counter. 4 gets printed. We come over here. Now we check. Is 4 less than 5? Yes. We again move on to the next iteration, but before that we increase the value to 5. And this time the system.out.println will display the value 5. We again come over here. Is 5 less than 5? No, the condition becomes false and the computer goes out of the loop. So the output over here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is our answer. Now the next question, that is part 6 of question number 2, is Mississippi.replace capital S with small t and then convert everything to lowercase. This dot at the beginning is just a misprint. You can ignore that. Let us work it out. So the string is Mississippi, Mississippi. we have to replace all the capital S by small t. That is, this will become M I T T I T T I P P I. And then we have to convert everything into lowercase. That is M I T T I T T I P P I. And this is our answer. Let's move on to the next question. That is question number 2, part 7. And here we have reduce dot compare to revolt plus Antarctica dot last index of A. Now the method compare to returns the difference of the Unicode characters at the point of first mismatch. So the first mismatch is at this position. The first two characters are same, the third character is different. Now the code for D is, please understand, the code for A is 65, then B is 66, and so on. So the code for D will be 68. And similarly, the code for V will be, let me work it out, will be 86. So what we have to do, the first part of the expression is now essentially 68 minus 86, which will give us minus 18. Now let us move on to the next part of the expression, which says plus Antarctica dot last index of A. That is, we have to find out what is the position of this last A. So position always starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 8. So what we have to do, we have to calculate minus 18 plus 8, which is equal to minus 10, and hence the answer is minus 10. The next question, that is part 8 of question number 2, is define boxing with an example. Now, since there is no space over here, we'll attempt this question over here. Now, the term boxing means converting primitive data type to object. Let us understand this with the help of an example, and even the question is saying define boxing with an example. So, we have an integer variable, int y is equal to, and let's say we store the current year, 2023. So, y is a primitive data type, that is int. The corresponding wrapper class is integer, and I want to convert this primitive data type y into the integer object obj. So what I'll do, I'll use the constructor of the integer class. I'll say integer y. So here what I'm doing is I'm converting a primitive data type, that is y, to a object, that is obj, which is of the wrapper class integer, and this is something known as boxing. Boxing refers to converting a primitive data type to object. Now the next question, that is subpart 9 of question number 2, is consider the following program and answer the questions given below. The program is class sample, and then there are two instance variable a and b. Let's move down to see the rest of the program. Then we have a constructor which is accepting two arguments x and y, and the x is being stored into the instance variable a and y is being stored into the instance variable b. That is followed by the calculate method, which is declaring a variable z, and then we are saying z is equal to a plus b, and then finally we are printing z. Now let's see the question. The question is name the global variable. Global variables means those variables which are available throughout the class. So in this case, the two variables which are declared over here, that is int a comma b, this is declared inside a class, and these will be available to all methods of this class. So the global variables are a and b in this case. So the answer is a and b. And then the next question is, what are the method variables? Method variables are those variables which are declared or which are passed as an argument to a method, and they are only available within that method. So if we notice over here, x and y are method variables, and in the second case, that is calculate method, it is z. So the method variables are x, y, and z. Let us move on to the next question, that is subpart 10 of question number 2, which also happens to be the last question of this section. Consider the following array and answer the questions given below, and then there is an integer array x with the given elements. The first question is what is the size of the array, and the second part is what is the position of 89. Now the first part says what is the size of the array, and the size can refer to the length of the array. That is, in this case there are 10 elements in the array, so in terms of length or the count of the number of elements, the size is 10. And another interpretation can be that what is the size in memory. So the size of one integer is 4 bytes and the size of 10 integers is 40 bytes. So just to be on the safer side, size in memory is 40 bytes. The next subpart is asking what is the position of 89. 89 is over here. Let's work out the position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the answer is 5th position. And with this we come to the end of section A. With this we have come to the end of section A of ICSE 2023 specimen paper of computer applications, and also the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has been helpful. Feel free to drop a comment below for any clarifications or doubts. Your feedback is valuable to me. I want to make sure that my videos are clear and helpful. You can follow me on the internet on any one or all of these channels.